Welcome to the pre-party. A presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is J Cal, and every Tuesday I'm here to talk NWA with you. That hashtag NWA fam. This is the hour before power. Too sweet to be sour? No, that's something else. But this is the pre-party, and again, my name is J Cal. This is a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We cover the NWA. We cover Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. We cover iconic heroes of wrestling excellence. We cover United Wrestling Network with Memphis. Oh, man. I just had a stroke. We also cover the Championship Wrestling Memphis, Championship Wrestling from the United Wrestling Network. And hopefully we'll be covering some more wrestling promotions soon. Maybe some of your favorite wrestling promotions. We'll start talking about those. But until then, we're going to talk NWA, and that's what this podcast is all about. It's the hour before power. We talk NWA all day, every day, but especially on Tuesday. Of course, you could join us Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, as we recap the show that you're about to watch on the Fight TV app or on the website, however you choose to connect. I see my pals Bobby Petito and Willie Boner in the house. Welcome, gentlemen, and welcome to you all watching on the United Wrestling interwebs. Again, this is the pre-party, and we're here to talk about the hour of power, the hour before power. And we'll get to your comments already because you guys are chatting it up. Bobby Petito says, I saw one of the Heat Seekers tweet that they want to wrestle in Knoxville for Tennessee. Yeah, I mean, that middle Tennessee area is kind of known as Heat Seeker territory. Based out of that team really gained prominence wrestling for Innovative Pro Wrestling, Tony Given's wrestling promotion. Now, prior to becoming Innovative Pro Wrestling, they were known as NWA Smoky Mountain. A lot of great teams came from that area. I said teams, I meant wrestlers in general. I mean, that's where Jason Kincaid really kind of broke through. He's a former NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion. Chase Owens, of course, dominated that area for quite some time. Also a former NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion. But guys like Damian Wayne would roll through there. Adam Pearce, of course, our former World's Heavyweight Champion Jax Dane. Rob Conway was there. Ricky Morton was there. I mean, it was kind of a hub for NWA talent prior to the purchase of the NWA from the Lightning One era. So that's always kind of been a big area for the NWA, well, in recent times. And so, yes, I would think the Heat Seekers would love to be on that card because most of all, it's not far from home, but two, they have quite a huge following there, and it can help them get over with the office. So, yeah, I would think so. But we'll see how that all plays out. Of course, the NWA holds its cards close to its vests. I don't know, if this is just going to be a one-off for them in the Knoxville, Tennessee area, or if this is going to be a regular thing. And this is, again, where the Matt Cardona pay-per-view. And we'll talk more about that momentarily. But I do want to say hi to Heebs. He's in the house. So Willie Bowen's here. Willie says, what's up, J Cal? Have you seen Championship Wrestling from Hollywood? Danny Limelight, the Wolf Zaddies, and Reno Scum were on the card. Yes, Willie. I was actually there live. I was there. A lot of our photos that you'll see from Instagram and some of the videos that we've been putting up here, entrances of some of the wrestlers on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/The Alliance blog. You can check it out. But yeah, Willie, I was there. I did watch the show. A little few snafus, but the wrestling itself was great. Very impressed by Johnny Robbie. Was very happy to see Reno Scum return, and Danny Limelight versus Carl Fredericks was just awesome. This is an NWA podcast, but don't be surprised if we talk about former NWA territories prior to the Billy Corgan ownership, just because it still has relevancy. Bobby Petito says, I watched Angelina Love against Riley on NWA USA Power Surge. and Rush Freeman versus Garrison Cade, and VSK versus Alex Taylor. What did you think of NWA USA? I have not caught it yet. I'm going to watch it probably tomorrow or maybe on Thursday. Give me a letter grade of what you thought of the show, Bobby. And Dave Scooby, our pal, our friend, who was at the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiator show event, that happened this past weekend. Got to see a new dog champion crowned. Dave Scooby wants to remind you to like, share, help subscribe. In tonight's Power, he's not joking. It looks incredible. Tonight's Power. And I'm so excited for this because after last week's, I want to just say, man, I think that was a misstep. I think that was a fail to execute. I think it was failed to read the audience. I mean, I had people messaging me who haven't messaged me in a while telling me how bad that show was. And I'm always quick to tell them, like, hey, guys, I didn't write that. That's not my show. Nevertheless, it wasn't good. Wasn't good at all. So let's see. He says the Fixers talked about ring rats and Wrecking Ball Legursky was oblivious to what that was. Because Wrecking Ball Legursky is kind of like he's a kind soul. He might be a wrecking ball, but he's got a kind soul. He doesn't know what ring rats are. Why would he? He's a good boy. That Wrecking Ball Legursky. Anyways, so the breaking news that something that's I think probably more important than anything else is the news that broke earlier this week. I believe it was yesterday that we will in fact have another pay-per-view lined up for June the 11th. Always ready, inspired by the gimmick of Matt Cardona. Tickets actually went on sale today. That's happening at the Knoxville Convention Center. This seems to be a night to celebrate Matt Cardona. It's interesting with Matt, with Mr. Matthew Cardona. He won the title at the last Power Trip. He's defended it 2 times now, once against the Pope, once against Nick Aldis at the Crockett Cup. Theoretically, he'll be defending the title at this pay-per-view. But one thing we have to consider is that if they're giving Matt Cardona his own pay-per-view, I don't think he's going away anytime soon. I don't know the strategic numbers. I mean, here's the interesting thing too, guys. When it comes to videos on, like, say, Twitter or Instagram or even Facebook, a lot of times it'll show you the views, how many times a video has been seen. And then the analytic behind it is you could actually see how many times it was tweeted, how much time that content was shared, retweeted, how much time that content was watched in hours, right? So there's all these breakdowns, and they can show you how much people are lending attention to, say, a specific wrestler or a specific platform, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. All of this is happening quite regularly. So there are people in charge of the NWA who are managing the analytic and taking this information, and it's no accident that Matt Cardona is champion. And I don't know how long he will be champion for, and I don't know where it's going to go. But I mean, look at this. I found this flyer the other day, and I'm sure some of you have seen it. Friday, October 31st, Halloween, Silverville, Tennessee. Meet and greet with the Cardonas, Matt and Chelsea, right? What title is he holding there? That's not the Impact Digital Media title. That's not the Internet Broski title. That's not any of the dozen championship belts that Matt Cardona currently lugs around in a suitcase. That's the 10 pounds of gold. October 31st. Let's just keep that in mind, guys. Let's just think about that. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that he's going to hold the title till then, but he might. He might. Let's get to some more of your comments. Bobby Matito says people will cheer for Rush Freeman during his match against Garrison Creed, and Angelina Love did great. Okay. I mean, it's, Rush Freeman is an interesting fellow. I know that they have him. The Ill Begotten started off as a babyface group with Captain Yuma, and somehow transformed into a heel group. But Rush Freeman is legitimately a babyface. Look at his face. He looks like a babyface. I don't know how long he'll stay heel for, and especially when the fans are cheering for him. But that's the thing, too. In Nashville, it's not exactly we saw a lot of heel versus heel matches, and the heels getting, some heels were getting cheered. Doty asks if I'll be going to Knoxville. Unfortunately, Doty, I will not be making the trip to Knoxville. I'm sure it'll be a great pay-per-view. I just can't make all of them. Crockett Cup was a 2-night experience. It was a big deal. I was interested to be there, but, I don't think I'll be at this one. Heeb says, yeah, USA happened. Nothing bad and nothing special, which is fine. That's the point, Heebs. I mean, that's what we want from the wrestling show. It's not supposed to be a pay-per-view, and it's not supposed to be garbage. And at the same time, like somebody alluded to on a certain Discord, I don't want to feel like I'm going to get in trouble if I get caught watching it. I think that's the key. Can I watch this with my children in the room and not feel awkward? And if the answer is no, then maybe the NWA needs to do things differently. Doty, Legursky isn't going to fix me, man. Legursky and I are like this. We're pals. I wanted them to win the Crockett Cup. You've been watching this show, Doty. You know that I've been putting the fixers over since day one. Legursky's my dude. I go back with Jay Bradley back to the New Japan USA dojo. I was there when he was wrestling against Adam Pearce from Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. I am on board with these gentlemen. And I will not be fixed because I've already been fixed, or something like that. Bobby Petito said, yesterday I watched Jack Stain on the NWA post show talking about his match on the Power Trip 2 and the pay-per-view on July 11th. Yeah, I mean, I didn't catch that. I did see that Doc Stinson was in the house for that one, and it was a little awkward when he and Will Martin were talking about world champions. It's funny. I don't like Nick Aldis, and I'm outcasted. But anyways, Willie Bowen says, "Will Tyrus defend his fighting championship?" I mean, Tyrus is going to be there. I think it's a book signing deal. I don't know. I don't really know. What's up, Jason Newman? I just saw you pop on real quick. Heeb says, when Cardona was booked to become NWA champ, he most likely had all these other bookings now. Now that he's been champ for a little while, the NWA, maybe he is getting booked for the NWA title. I hope you're right. And that's the thing. I don't want people to take this the wrong way. I have no problem with Mr. Cardona honoring his bookings prior to becoming World's Heavyweight Champion. Just now that he is champion, I want that title to become more paramount. I want him to. Those title defenses need to be more meaningful. They need to be against stiffer competition. I want to see him more regularly on my television with the 10 pounds of gold, or on my internets or whatever. Our pal Dave Scooby will be in Knoxville for the pay-per-view and Sunday tapings. I guess they're having tapings on Monday and Tuesday at the Skyway Studios in Nashville. So it sounds like Skyline Studio might be the new official home for the NWA, or at least when it comes to Power and USA. I think it's kind of cool that they're doing the pay-per-view at a different venue. And I mean, they're going to Knoxville, so there won't be as much burnout for the fans who were attended in Nashville. Not everyone in Nashville will travel to Knoxville. I know that sounds crazy, but not everyone will make that trip for the pay-per-view, but hopefully they'll be there for TV. Doty says Freeman is the new Mims. I mean, there might be some truth to that. Look, there's a lot of talented dudes on the roster who just need that spotlight, just need the opportunity to shine. And the curious thing with Billy is that because he is not only the owner and the president, but he's also the booker, it's finding the right time for everyone to shine. And it's hard because, you have to hold people back to further certain storylines. But hopefully, I like Rush Freeman. I think he's got a good look, and I think he has potential. Big dude, he's a rather tall guy. And I think putting him in the ill-begotten was a smart move for now, but hopefully that group evolves and changes as well. Funny, DK. Very, very funny. Bobby Battista says, I'm looking forward to watching Brady Price wrestling at Power Trip 2 on April 30th. I'm not super familiar with Brady Price. I'll be honest with you. I don't really know a whole lot about him. Our pal, Jeremy, Wrestling with the MMA is here. What's up, my brother? Glad to see you here tonight. Rick Del Santo! Pro Wrestling Zone, my pal, my buddy, my friend. Subscribe to his page. Rick covers Northeastern wrestling like no other, with a huge emphasis on the National Wrestling Alliance. Check out his show, the NWA Spotlight. I think those come out every Wednesday, I think. Rick, tell us when those come out. You should check them out. A lot of chock full of NWA information. Sean Mega says, huge show tonight. Yeah, this feels like a pay-per-view. And, like, it's there's this weird dichotomy because last Tuesday, I was very optimistic about what they were going to do with that show. Clearly, I don't think it hit where they wanted it to. I don't think it did anything that they wanted it to. I don't think they meant to be as malicious. I don't think they intentionally let me try that again. I don't think they intentionally produced something that was going to be bad. I just don't think they really knew what they were doing and how they were trying to execute. If it was supposed to be some sort of Up All Night with Rhonda Shear like knockoff, they should have just taken a completely different approach. I don't know what they were going for. They didn't execute on anything. The wrestling was okay at best. The show was such a distraction with everything else. I could go on that for hours. Tony, no, there won't be any J Cal after dark. No. My wife said I can't do that anymore. Rick, yeah, Wednesday evenings. Okay, that's what I thought. And I do believe you guys, you can listen to his show, Rick's show, Pro Wrestling Zone. It's on Spotify. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook, I believe, too. Just make sure you check it out if you just want to hear some more like-minded NWA thoughts, more wrestling. And Rick actually likes Nick Aldis. So, I mean, you can hear a different opinion right there. Bobby Battista says Genocide is wrestling on NWA Power Trip on April 30th. And yeah, man, Genocide. Yeah, there she is. Genocide will be back in the ring. Power Trip. No match has been announced yet for Genocide. And that's compelling to me because what are they going to do? What's she going to do? What's going to happen? I don't know. But Genocide, I think, is one of their premier athletes, one of their premier competitors. I think Genocide, if they're getting serious about pushing her, now's the time. Camille is kind of running out of top-tier opponents, and it seems like some of her best matches are happening outside of the NWA. If the NWA wants to produce a match that's going to be meaningful and they have to start producing right now. They have to either decide if it's going to be Killian King, it's going to be Natalia Markova, or it's going to be Genocide, and make that match your main event for Empower and build it. Build. But we'll see if they listen to your pal J Cal. Dave Scooby says it was the only time I was glad to hear idols ranting and raving. Yeah, I mean, gosh, does your mother know what you're doing? That was the best line. Yeah, I know, Rick. I know you're an Aldis fan, and you know what? I don't hate Aldis, right? That's the misnomer. People think I hate that guy, and I don't. I actually really like Aldis. Maybe we'll never see eye to eye philosophical about pro wrestling or anything else, but he's a phenomenal talent. And you can't take that away from him. He might be the biggest arrogant asshole in the entire world, but you can't tell me that he isn't a good wrestler, that he isn't perfect for the NWA. And the only time I want him in the title picture is when everything else is exhausted. I see some more comments I want to get back to. Dodie says tonight is another Nick versus Jordan Clearwater, and I hope this time they finally show who Jordan Clearwater really is. Now, here's an interesting story about this matchup that we're going to see tonight. Jordan Clearwater wrestled a dark match against Nick Aldis at the very first Primetime Live. Now, here's where it gets interesting. That first episode of Primetime Live aired on Tuesday, September the 15th, but that match between Clearwater and Aldis was actually taped on the 14th with no special values because they were just testing out the equipment. The match was exclusively taped for the NWA. It was never aired on any United Wrestling Network programming because it was a dark match. They had no intention of actually releasing this. And the interesting thing about it is Dave Marquez, at the time, who was producing these shows, actually went live during this match, and you could listen to the announcers. You couldn't see anything, but you could listen to the announcers calling the action as Dave was in the back producing the show, directing the show. So they had a really good match, and that's basically how Jordan Clearwater got invited to come to the NWA, is because they were impressed with his match with Nick Aldis. And you ended up seeing that match much later when the NWA started releasing that Primetime Live content, the NWA themed matches. And then we got that the rematch. We got the rematch that never was because Trevor Murdoch came in and kind of took over, and the match was thrown out. So we never got an actual rematch. And this is the closest thing we're going to get to it. Now, this is a smart move by the NWA because they're trying to keep Aldis out of any title picture, right? Like, he's currently not able to challenge for the 10 pounds of gold because he doesn't have a number one contender spot. They're not putting him in a feud with Jack Stain. He's not wrestling against Tyrus. So he's just going through the roster, right? And this is the story of him kind of getting back into top contendership. He's got to just go out there and beat people. So tonight, hopefully he gets a good Jordan Clearwater match. We all get something great. And I think it'll be good. Bobby Bettino says Max the Impaler is wrestling against Ella Envy at Power Trip 2. Yeah, and that's another one I didn't even see any advertisements for. But I guess it's out there. Willie Bowen says, I wish Jordan Grace, Rosemary, and Havoc would be great competition for Camille. I agree. Heeb says, it's like a sentence was missing from my honor his pre-NWA title run bookings comment. I got what you meant. If I didn't represent you correctly, Heebs, that's on me. And Sean, first of all, the last name Cal isn't for California, brother. But no, I don't hate Aldis. I actually really do like Aldis. Chris, on the other hand, does not like Nick Aldis. Dodie says, speaking of the Heat Seekers, Sigmund mentioned that they will be booked for another show during the pay-per-view, but anything can happen during the Knoxville Power tapings. Yeah, Dodie, actually, I pointed that out earlier. You just missed it. It would be really cool to see the Heat Seekers get another opportunity in the NWA, especially when they're in their hometown. Even if it's just a one-off, I'm okay with that. I don't need the Heat Seekers on the roster. I just want them to be a part of the show from time to time. Sean Vega says, Sigmund is an NWA Smoky Mountain legend. Just not the Cornette version. Yeah, we talked about that too, Sean. That Tony Givens, Smoky Mountain in Middle Tennessee was basically like a hub for most of the top tier NWA talent. We know that Damian Wayne was in town a lot. We know Chase Owens was there. And basically, Chase Owens broke into the business through NWA Smoky Mountain. Jason Kincaid really got some greater eyeballs on him in Smoky Mountain. Of course, Pierce, Conway, Dane all went through there with the 10 pounds of gold. Ricky Morton became junior heavyweight champion there. Smoky Mountain was a great territory. It'd be nice to see them get acknowledged from time to time, too. Dave Scooby said it'll be interesting to see how Aldis and Myers match turns out this weekend. I mean, so this primetime, I said primetime live. This premiere live event is going to be something a little bit different. I don't feel like it's got the same magnitude as the last Power Trip. We have one title match on the line. Excuse me here, guys. My lighting's acting up. There we go. We've got one title match announced so far. No tag titles will be defended because we know La Rebelion will be in Mexico, Tijuana that weekend. We know the world's heavyweight champion is not booked. He won't be there. We know that the women's championship is not on the line. So far, there hasn't been an announcement about Team Hex. The only title that we know for sure that's going to be on the line is a junior heavyweight title. Now, Tyrus is supposed to be there, but they haven't mentioned what kind of matchup he's in. And Jack Stain is in a tag team match. So it's very interesting to see how this card is going to churn out. I was very pessimistic about this card, and Gary Horn and I were discussing it on the Alliance Discord page, and he was very optimistic about it. I mean, of course, that's what Gary's going to do. I'm going to be more realistic about it. I don't think it's a very strong card. More Harry Smith, sure, that's great. Tom Latimer versus Rhett Titus could be the match that steals the show. But a lot of the booking just doesn't make sense as a fan from, 30,000 feet away from it. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Yes, and Heebs, exactly. It doesn't feel like it's a big event. It feels like it's just another glorified TV taping. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But let's identify it as such. Power Trip was a big event. By any means necessary, was treated as a big event. If these are just going to be TV tapings outside of the NWA studios, there's nothing wrong with that. But let's not treat it like it's a big event. Let's not get people's expectations overly high. Let's see. Heeb says, so tonight we have Murdoch and Stevens feud blow off and 2 title matches. I wonder how much is left for the national tapings. Has Camille defended yet? No, she hasn't. It's a good point. She hasn't. She might be the only one. I don't think Tyrus has defended the title either. Doty says, a lot has been said on Aldis, but like it or not, most of Matt's tweets when mentioning NWA has been clear that he's on feud with Aldis. On the other hand, we have no clear number 1 contender as of now. I mean, technically you're right, Doty, but let's pull the veil back. Under the NWA directives, as it were, just last year, Trevor Murdoch had the opportunity to challenge for the world title when he was the national champion because that was his right. He never invoked it as national champion. Nick Aldis, the world's heavyweight champion at the time, acknowledged that Chris Adonis had that number 1 contenders that he never exercised because, again, he was content with being national champion. So the rule is, per Nick Aldis, for the NWA, now and how it was under the previous ownership, the national champion is the number 1 contender. That's the first title. Excuse me, the secondary title is the first number 1 contender. In the old days, it was the North American title, but that title was not reactivated. Therefore, that obligation fell to the national championship. So we do have a number 1 contender. It's Jack Stain. And behind him, we know that the Pope cashed in, so he's out of the picture for now. Matches before he can qualify for a world's heavyweight title match. We also know Velvet Sky still has her championship series. Colby Corino still has his championship series. So there is still room for some malarkey. But as of right now, we just don't know. NWA Gold's in the house. What's up, Gold? So, Bobby says, I'm looking forward to watching Homicide versus Titus for the junior heavyweight title. Agreed. I think Titus has earned it. When you watch him wrestle, he's a very complete wrestler, part of the foundation, under the Jonathan Gresham Ring of Honor. I know he's no longer the TV champion. I know he probably won't be involved with Ring of Honor going forward. But, the dude's a solid wrestler. He is. Sean Mega says, I hate the rule of the national champion being number 1 contender. Why, Sean? Why do you hate that rule? I think it makes sense because in the fact of there are a series of titles. One title is the most important. Having the national championship be the number 1 contender allows that title to be the number 1, the precursor to the world's heavyweight title. Doty says, if Power Trip lack on title match, I hope at least it will catapult some storylines. Look, I told you walking into the show, I'm very pessimistic about it. I could be 100% wrong, and I'm hoping I'm wrong. I do. I want this product to thrive. I want all of us to be very happy with the $5 every month we spend on this show. I want the audience to continue to grow. I want them to have a television deal. I want them to be featured on what is it, Paramount Plus. I want them to have all the success that comes with a pro wrestling company. I want bigger pay-per-views. I want more live touring events. I want Nick Aldis to be put in the WWE Hall of Fame because of his exploits in the NWA. I wish for all of that. I don't know, man. I think that's asking for too much, and not the way this company's built today. Chris Drummond says, give that shot to Angelina Love. She could beat Camille. Could she? I know you don't like all this, but come on, man. Angelina Love isn't beating Camille. And Dave Scooby echoes that. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool, too. Dodie says, is Colby challenging Homicide and Power Trip? Is that his championship series cash-in? I don't think so, man. I think, Dodie, that this was a match that Colby earned. I mean, we never heard them reference the championship series. I would be shocked if it was. Sean says it's a mid-card title with regards to the national championship. I don't know how I feel about that. Bobby says he wants to see Tyrus versus Mims. Well, hey, if Mims could body slam him. So this is where Chris is going to turn on his hater hat. Camille hasn't wrestled many legit women wrestlers. Love has faced many of the best like her or not. Chris, with all due respect, you telling me that Taya Valkyrie is not one of the best wrestlers? Angelina Love didn't face Taya Valkyrie, did she? I bet she lost if she did. Did Angelina Love, did she face Mercedes Martinez? Did she face legit Layla? Did she beat Serena Deeb? Did she beat Thunder Rosa? Come on, man. You got to get out of here with that shit. Let's be honest. Camille is here. Angelina Love doesn't fit in the camera. She's not here. Angelina Love was a gimmick, bro. That's all. Nothing more. Nothing more. And I that's fake outrage. I'm not really mad that you like Angelina Love. Go ahead. It's just more fun for me to be aggressive and yell on this podcast. So with that being said, Angelina has won titles in Ring of Honor and Impact, bro. Oh, bro, come on. Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. Come on, man. Dodie says, Camille can be the champ as long as she wants. What we need is more of her in Power, more of her on her own, out of Strictly Business Shadow, and more of her women's on Power in USA. Exactly. The thing about Camille is she's great. You can't tell me otherwise. You can't. You can make the argument, but I can also tell you you're crazy, and I'm going to tell you you're crazy. Angelina Love was a very niche TNA knockout wrestler. When she won the championship, I think she was with Beautiful People. If not, honestly, I didn't follow it enough. I didn't care enough. She never captivated my attention enough. She was never over enough to make me care. Camille is a different story. And I would say that if Camille was wrestling in Impact, I would say that if Camille was wrestling in AAA, or if she was wrestling in the WWE or the United Wrestling Network. Camille's solid. There's no argument about it. She belongs in AEW. She belongs in the WWE. The fact that she's still in the NWA just means she's on borrowed time, and we're all lucky to have her. He says win in the last 3 years. Oh, I mean, they did win the Ring of Honor tag. No, not tag titles. No, her and Mandy Leone challenged for the Ring of Honor challenged the Hex for the tag titles, and they did the job. Dave Scooby says, I hope they keep the momentum going until Always Ready pay-per-view. Billy is on tour all through the month of May. Oh, I wonder if that'll change some of the booking. We'll see. DKM says, Love hasn't been good in years. Chris says, I like Camille. You know that, Jay. I think Love could be a good rival. I mean, look, I'm not saying she doesn't deserve to have a match. If you want to have her have a match, it's fine. I don't think she's a rival because I don't think Angelina's Love promos are as good. I don't think she can go in the ring like she used to. I don't think she's fast enough, strong enough. I don't think her wrestling ability is on par with Camille. Camille's a machine, dude. She's just better. Bobby Mateo says, I'd like to see more of Maddie. Just Maddie. No, not Maddie Radikowski anymore. Terry McDermott said, NWA are real titles, Ring of Honor and Impact are all TV titles. I mean, that's a good point, too. That's a solid point. And DKM says, and she was never that good. Heeb says, love is a good name for Camille to add another notch in her belt. I don't even know if she's that anymore. Let's be honest. This isn't Roxy, man. This isn't Deonna Purrazzo. This is somebody who hasn't really had strong value for a while. This is like another Melina. Oh, it's a Melina. But Melina did more in her time wrestling than Angelina Love did. Sorry. Oh, that was a good one. Ooh, that was good. Whew. Getting goosebumps. So, yeah. Sometimes I pop myself. So tonight, I mean, again, huge night for the NWA. This is a pay-per-view-like booked show. We got some title matches, got some high-profile matches. We'll start off with this one. I think this is going to be a good match to talk about right here. Aaron Stevens versus Trevor Murdoch. They've been kind of doing this slow build here with Trevor and Aaron Stevens, where Trevor is not the Trevor of yesteryear. Trevor is... in his own words, he's going to be more selfish. He's going to be more concerned about himself. Remember, this was the feud that kind of helped propel the second season of NWA Power. It was Aaron Stevens who had become the national champion by hook or by crook by defeating Ricky Starks. Excuse me, by defeating Colt Cabana in a triple threat with Ricky Starks. And that set up the whole... Mongolian karate with the question mark, but Stevens and Murdoch was the underlying story there. And Murdoch was actually chasing Stevens to get a shot at that national title. Now, he finally did win that title at Primetime Live, but leading up to that, Stevens would usually get the best of Murdoch in that series. So this is kind of like a continuation of a feud that a lot of us might have forgotten about. And I think that's going to be a really good match. Stevens is kind of back in his original character when he entered the NWA, and Murdoch is in a much more ass-kicking mode. I think this has a ton of potential to be a lot of fun. I hope that they can have enough time to execute, and we'll hopefully see some more of what's going on there. I want to get back to some of your comments because I think you guys have some good ones. You always do. Dodie says, Trevor Murdoch also booked for upcoming Wildcat, the comeback show. Good for Wildcat. I think the problem with Trevor Murdoch is I don't know if he was unapproachable as world champion. He wasn't getting booked a lot. Outside of the NWA, you didn't see him working anywhere else. And I think that could hurt his appeal. Where, again, you look at a guy like Matt Cardona, he's everywhere. And I think that's what was appealing about Cardona is he's everywhere. I think you need to find a happy medium as a guy who will go anywhere, who doesn't necessarily need to go anywhere. Sean Mega says Corgan should loan Camille to WoW. Now, Sean, oh my gosh, brother. That would be awesome. And I know that a lot of people, sorry for clapping in the microphone. I just realized I did that. Sorry about your ears. I think that would be a smart move with the fact that, WoW is going to be on, I think it's the CW. But regardless, the fact that that's going to be seen in a lot more households. And when you have girls like Tessa Blanchard and Rekka Khan and my pal Raze, who will be wrestling as Venomous on that roster. I mean, could you imagine if they brought the women's world champion to fight the WoW champion and it came down to a showdown between Tessa Blanchard and Camille? I mean, that's the stuff that would make Certified Hustler lose his mind. And I think that'd be pretty cool. I think they should do that. Come on, man. How you expect me to do a straight face when you're making jokes like that? He says, yeah, Melina is comparable to Love. Yeah, and look, Melina served her purpose, and I'm not saying Angelina Love doesn't have a purpose in the NWA, but don't tell me she's going to be the chief rival. Nah, we're not there. Lamb says the Ring of Honor and some Impact titles were defended outside of TV recently, so they are real titles and more fences than the NWA titles, especially the world title. I mean, I can't argue with that either, Lamb. You bring up an excellent point. That 10 pounds of gold when Aldis first won that championship back in December 9th, 2017 at CCW in New Jersey, or was it Philly? I don't remember now. He took that title everywhere. I mean, no stone was left unturned. The Aldis Crusade took him to the United Kingdom, took him to Australia, took him to Canada, all over the North America, China, right? Nobody else has done that. Nobody's been to China. You know, Dave Marquez says you're welcome, but nobody else has been to China as world champion except for Nick Aldis. Australia, yeah, Adam Pearce did Australia, but he never did China. Adam Pearce did the United Kingdom, but not as much as Nick Aldis did. But that title, ever since Power has been on the air, has diminished in title defenses outside of the NWA. And if you don't believe me, go look it up. Cagematch.net, wrestling title histories. Look it up. I'm not making this up. Bobby says, is Melina producer of the women's division on the NWA? No, I don't think she works there. I think Dave Scooby just answered it. Jazz and Rodney. He says, if NWA can lock down Killian King for a year or so, then that's the person I'd go with to give Camille a break from being champ. Not a bad look. I don't think she's a bad choice either. I really like Genocide, and I really thought Natalia Markova was going to make a good push for it. We'll just have to wait and see what the plan is. Dodie says we need more women's matches, more women's storyline, because it's still the best division in the NWA. The next is the junior division. They need to be pushed more. I mean, that's what the USA was supposed to be about, but so far we haven't really got much of that. The next match for tonight, like we aforementioned, Jordan Clearwater versus Nick Aldis. Again, I think that's going to be a fun match if they let Jordan Clearwater beat Jordan Clearwater and not just a jabroni. Now, like, Aria Davari had some offense against Nick Aldis. If that's the kind of match that Jordan Clearwater gets, I'm going to be disappointed. Now, if Jordan Clearwater goes out there and puts on a great match with Nick Aldis, if he loses, he can still get over. They say it on Busted Open all the time. Bully Ray says you can go over or you can get over. And I think Jordan Clearwater is a guy that can certainly get over even on a loss. Now, I don't know which match is considered the main event for tonight. I don't. But I do know that there's two title matches. So I think we'll go with this one first. Now, I think this match could headline any pay-per-view the NWA did. If this match wasn't taped already, this would have been the match I would have picked to headline Power Trip 2, because obviously this has some drawing power. And I almost kind of feel like this was wasted for just a regular episode of Power. But La Rebelion versus Dem Boys, the Briscoes. And, I mean, look at that graphic. Honestly, I don't want to step in the ring with either one of those guys. And when you put the title on the line, I mean, anything could happen. The mum's the word. I don't know spoilers. I didn't see any spoilers for this. I didn't seek them out. If you looked at them, that's great. Don't ruin it for anybody else. But that looks like a great, great, great match. And I feel like La Rebellion versus the Briscoes is a match that needs to happen often. I want to see more of it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Devin, I can't stay. I'll listen to the replay. Coaching Little League Baseball today. Well, go Little League team. I hope your kids go out there and have a great game. Lamb says NWA does ITV show named Power in USA, and now still can't get more headlines than the others. I mean, bring up a good point. Chris says you don't have to tear down other promotions to big up the NWA. I agree with you on that. I don't think we need to tear anybody down. I think that's a great thing about pro wrestling is there's so many different flavors out there. There's something for everybody. You like the hardcore death matches? Cool. Check out Game Changer Wrestling. You want to see a wrestling presented more like a sport? Game Changer Wrestling's got something for you called Bloodsport. Check that one out. Oh, you want more sports entertainment? Hey, there's a WWE. You don't like the WWE, but you want something kind of like that? Oh, there's Impact. There's AEW. You want to see indie wrestling? Jeez, there's indie wrestling all over the place. You want lucha libre? We got that. You want strong style? We got that. There's pro wrestling is wonderful. Pro wrestling is pure art, and you can get any flavor you want, any style you want. And just because you like something doesn't mean it's bad or good or anything. It just means you like it. I can like what I like, and you can like what you like, and we can both like pro wrestling and both not like the same wrestling. It's wild. But we don't have to tear anybody down. And this is a place of positivity. I don't want to tear anyone down. I feel like wrestling is great when there's more of it. When I was a kid, there was 3 things that I loved: Star Wars, Transformers, and pro wrestling. And the only time I got to see Star Wars is when I put on a VHS tape. And the only time I got to see Transformers was before I went to school. And the only time I got to see wrestling was on the weekends. And we live in a time and world and a place now where you can watch Transformers all the time. You can watch Star Wars all the time. And you can watch pro wrestling all the time. And that's great, man. I got no arguments there. Dodie says, I want more Tootie Lynn, more Tootie and Kylie Ray because the women's tag division also needs angles. I agree. Tootie Lynn is really growing on me. I still don't think she's as polished as some other competitors, but she could certainly slot into something productive. I mean, when Lady Frost left, there was nobody quite like her, and the closest thing to her right now might be Tootie Lynn. So hopefully, I'm not against that. Yeah, Lamb, you're right. We don't need to tear anybody down. That's all good. Devin, go back to coaching, brother. Go back to coaching. Get ahead of here. Bobby says, I'd like to see Darius Lockhart versus Capri Coleman. I mean, Caprice. Wow, right? I'd like to see more of him in the NWA. Clearwater versus Aldis, too, is interesting here because Jordan is a totally different wrestler than in 2020. He bulked up and is more character-based than before. Hopefully it'll be good for him. I just want to see it be competitive. He doesn't have to even win the match. Just be competitive. And will Idol be out there or will we have Black G's? These things will play a role for it. Devin loves the Clearwater and the Idol management. Terry says, hey, I like matches over gimmicks and stories. Plus, the NWA has the heritage. That's not putting no one down. That's the truth. I'm not denying that. I mean, Ring of Honor definitely has some heritage as well. Oh, look, at this point in the game, Impact Wrestling has been around longer than WCW was. Keep that in mind. Impact Wrestling, TNA, Jeff Jarrett's baby, has been around longer than World Championship Wrestling. If that doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what else will. So getting back to the matches, again, I think this match will draw anywhere, everywhere. I think this is going to be the highlight of tonight. And I'm surprised they didn't save it for the pay-per-view. Hopefully this match is great, so much so that we get it again and again and again. And then the next match, which I think will be your main event, is the World Junior Heavyweight Champion Homicide versus Rhett Titus. Now, as many of you know, Homicide has been defending that title super active. I mean, he's already defended it. This will be his second time on Power, his third time since winning it in the NWA, but he's also defended in Catalyst. He's defended in a few other places, most recently against Peter Avalon. So the guy's out there working. He's out there putting in the work, and I think that's great. Rhett Titus won this title shot based on the merit of his match with Darius Lockhart, and Billy Corgan is like, hey, I appreciated that. I want to see more of that. So again, pretty cool stuff, man. I think, like I said, this show is built big. It's built really, really big, and I feel like this is a good night for the NWA. I hope they capitalize on this opportunity. I hope. I was very happy with this season until last week, and even the episodes that struggled were still really good in terms of wrestling and everything else. But this, tonight is really gonna signify quite a bit to me as a fan, because if I go out there and I see some junk matches, I'm gonna be upset. I'm gonna be sad. But if they come out there and these matches are good, high quality matches, and the competitors that are in the matches lead me to believe they will be, if the promos don't get too funky, I think this will be a really great night for the NWA. And that's ahead of Power Trip 2. I mean, this card to me looks better than anything on Power Trip 2. More of your comments. Devin says, last thing, Paola got her first W. I know you're a big Paola fan. And she's another girl that, female competitor that, she can grow with the brand. She can be someone that helps bring that women's division up, but she needs a lot more work, needs to be a lot more polished. Wrestling with MMA, all right? I'm telling you, man. It's wild to think. For me, it's wild to think that it's older than WCW because of how WCW kind of gave the impression that it was just an evolutionized version of Jim Crockett Promotions. But no, 93 to about 2000. Yeah, about 2000, right? 2001. Willie Bowen says, will Jordan Clearwater ever wrestle Chris Dickinson? Clearwater is the number one for the United Wrestling Network Championship. Perhaps we know that Dickinson just wrestled Davey Richards a few nights ago. And then on May the 7th, Dickinson's going to be facing Willie Mack and Irvine. I mean, that Chris Dickinson is really facing some stiff competition as world champion. To win the title, he had to beat Michael Bennett. His first title defense was against I don't remember who he faced off first, but Davey Richards was number 2, and then number 3 is Willie Mack, or maybe that's number 1 and number 2. I'm not sure. Lamb says, did the guy prior crowning the junior champion who won the contendership finally get his title match, Jay Spade? No, Jay Spade has kind of disappeared, man. We don't know what happened to Jay Spade. I know he was there for the tapings. At least he was there on Saturday and Sunday night. Or at least let me rephrase that. I know he's there Saturday night. Don't know where he was the rest of the week. Sean Megan says, I hope the YouTube views double. I agree, man. I hope so too. Terry says that tag team match could be match of the year. I think so too. I really do. Like this could be a big step forward for the NWA. Dodie says, Jay usually going after dark during Friday podcast. I'm afraid Billy hacked his PC, but maybe that's actually the famous. No, man, I just like spending time with my family. There's no Jay after dark. We want Jay Spade versus Homicide for Always Ready. Hey, Dodie, politely, respectfully tweet that. Maybe Billy will hear you. I mean, look, Jay Spade is a talented athlete. I don't know why they're wasting their time putting him in a match. At least, I mean, they had the match. He won the number 1 contender spot. Give him the match. Sean Mega says, Impact is a U.S. version of WWC Puerto Rico. Well, Sean Mega, do you mean the English version? Because, I mean, technically Puerto Rico is a part of the United States. Loophole, gotcha. Oh, man, what a fun Tuesday. You guys are the best. I never dread doing this show at all. You guys always pick me up. It's always a lot of fun. I am excited about tonight's event. Of course, if you're going to Kentucky, Oak Grove, Kentucky this weekend, I hope you're having a great time. Of course, we talked about Genocide will be in action. This match, which makes absolutely no sense. I love Jack Stain. I could care less about any of the other 3 men in the ring. This match could potentially steal a show. Tom Latimer versus Rhett Titus, I think is going to be great. This match should be entertaining. I think you're going to see Nick Aldis get another victory as he climbs his way back to the 10 pounds of gold. This match, Mike Knox versus Harry Smith, looks like a Haas battle. And for that reason, I've changed my mind and I've decided I do want to see that one. And, of course, the junior heavyweight title is on the line. If Homicide defeats Rhett Titus tonight, this is the title match that will happen. So again, if you're going to Oak Grove, Kentucky, if you're going to be part of the Tried and True meets the NWA Power Trip, I hope you guys enjoy the show. It looks like it's going to be some fun, although I don't think much of that show makes sense. Let's see. Lamb, I don't know if that match actually happened. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Bobby Batista says, when will we see Jack Stane versus Marche Rocket for the National Heavyweight Championship? That might be at Always Ready, or it might just be on the next Premier Live event, or it might have already happened. I don't know. Terry says, I have a feeling Jordan Clearwater is going to get used more seriously from now on. Maybe. I mean, look, he looked great at the Crockett Cup. Him and Marche looked tremendous, and they look like a legitimate tag team. That's the problem with the NWA. I don't know where they see Jordan Clearwater. If they see him as a tag team wrestler, that's cool. Keep putting him with Marche, and let's get some wins and losses for Marche. Let's get them into a title hunt. If not, let's let this guy go singles, because I think he's ready. And you could still keep him in Idolmania Sports Management. I mean, look, Nick Aldis was the first member of Austin Idol's entourage. So leaving Clearwater in there isn't necessarily a bad thing. Heap says, I've noticed my old YouTube comments getting likes, so people have been catching up on previous Power and USA episodes. I think, that's good. I mean, that kind of shows you that people are watching. Yeah, they should. There's a lot of good stuff that's happening, especially in the last season, except for last week's episode. We need Idol After Dark. I don't know if we need that. Heeb says, I totally skipped the Jack Stane match for the reel I made. Good. It's a dumb match. It is. Heebs, you spent a lot of time making that cool reel, and they should have given Jack Stane, if they wanted to do the NWA right, put Jack Stane versus Marche Rocket on this show. That's cool, man. You built it up on TV. It makes sense. If not Marche, then hey, maybe just a singles match against Jake Dumas. There's no reason to put him in that match with Judeus. And man, it's just Sal. I don't even know what he goes by anymore. No. The only thing that's going to be good about that is when Jack Stane lays everybody out in the ring and walks away. Dodie says, we usually have the bearded duo featuring Jaden After Dark every Friday. No After Darks, Dodie. That would be fun, Sean. I just don't see that happening either. I don't think the Hardy Boys will be anywhere near the NWA. Terry McDermott says, I like Magic Jake. I don't think he'll become a champion, but fun to watch. Yeah, I know. And Dodie says, it's time to go. And when the boss says it's time to go, guys, it's time to go. Again, do appreciate you guys hanging out with us every Tuesday. We will be back Thursday night as part of what do we call it? We call it the Alliance Guys podcast. And we're here every Thursday night to talk to you about the results of this show. So hope you will be back on Thursday to join us to talk more about the NWA. But until then, I'll see you at the matches. Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.